Hello, PropStat students. We are continuing our work on the Unit 6 project, and in this video, I'm going to help you with your probabilities. So I'm looking at my project, of course, which is slightly different from yours, but you can follow the same steps. So number one says, what is the probability that a customer chosen at random had the vegetarian entree or the gluten-free entree? So this is a question about entrees. You need to actually choose an entree to put in there. So we're not talking about any vegetarian entree. We're talking about the one you choose. So if you look at my project, for vegetarian entree, I chose tofu, and for gluten-free, I chose chicken. So this is the probability I'm finding. Probability that a customer chosen at random had tofu or chicken. So probability that a customer had tofu, there are two places where you could have tofu: no restriction tofu and vegetarian tofu. So for no restriction tofu, I multiplied the 88% times the 0.2 for salmon. And then for vegetarian tofu, I multiplied the 0.1 times the 0.5. So just going along the branches. Now they could also have had chicken, and so we're going to add in the probabilities of having a chicken entree. So that would be 0.88 times 0.2 plus, here we are with gluten-free, 0.02 times 0.5. Now you can have Desmos do the work of multiplying. It's a lot easier than your phone calculator, and it makes a lot fewer mistakes than your phone calculator. So Desmos will give you that answer as a decimal. And also remember that anytime you have a decimal answer, it will convert it to a fraction if you press the fraction button over here on the left. All right, let's look at number 2. What is the probability a customer chosen at random had no dietary restrictions given that they had the vegetarian entree? So again, you're going to choose a vegetarian entree there. So I chose tofu again for my vegetarian entree. So what is the probability a customer chosen at random had no dietary restrictions given that they had the tofu? So for number 2, I used the conditional probability formula. Probability of B given A equals the probability that A and B both happen divided by the probability that A happens. So on the numerator here, the probability that A and B both happen, probability that they have no restrictions in tofu is going to be no restrictions, 0.88 up times tofu, which is down here, 0.2. In the denominator, there are multiple ways how A could happen, which is that they had the tofu. So we're going to look at the 0.88 times the 0.2 again and add to it the 0.1 times the 0.5. That's your denominator. Okay? Again, Desmos will do that work for you and give you a decimal or a fraction. All right, let's look at the third one. What is the probability a customer chosen at random did not have the gluten-free or the no restriction entree? So for the gluten-free, you have to choose one, and you might just have one choice that is a no restriction entree. So going back, gluten-free, I chose the chicken. I could have chosen the salmon, but I chose the chicken or the spaghetti, which was the one with no restrictions. So did not have those two meant that they had to have the others. So I could have found the probability that they had chicken or spaghetti and subtracted that probability from 1, but I just chose to go more direct route and find the probability that they had one of the other entrees. So I found the probability of salmon, the probability of risotto, and the probability of tofu, and then I added those probabilities together. Remember, for each of these entrees, there's more than one way they could have chosen it. So the salmon could have been no restrictions times 0.2, or it could have been gluten-free times 0.5. And the risotto and the tofu also had more than one way to find that. Then once I found the probability of each entree, I added them up to find the probability that a customer did not have the chicken or the spaghetti. All right, moving on to question 4. The question's about appetizers, so we have to switch to the two-way table. What is the probability a customer chosen at random was vegetarian given that he had the vegetarian and gluten-free appetizer? So this is another conditional probability. My vegetarian and gluten-free appetizer was salad, so I replaced those words with salad, and you'll do something like that too. And then I needed to use the conditional probability formula. So the probability that the customer was both vegetarian and had salad, so we're looking for vegetarian and had salad, that would be here. And I actually chose the number of customers instead of the probability, which will work in the case of the two-way table. And then I divided that by the number of customers that were just A, so that was given that they had salad. And that's here. All right, let's look at the next one. What is the probability that a customer chosen at random had the gluten-free appetizer or had no dietary restrictions? So gluten-free appetizer or no dietary restrictions. So going back, my gluten-free appetizer was the bacon wrapped figs or had no dietary restrictions. Now there's some overlap here, so you have to be a little bit careful. I can't just count where the figs, 30 plus 88, because you can see already that's going to get you over 100, right? So we want to look at, had the figs, that was 88. And then we can't count these 29 people again, so I'm just going to count the other people who had figs, which was just one more person. So we had no restrictions was 88 people, and then besides those 88 people, over here, there was just one other person who had the figs, so that made 89 out of 100, or 0.89. All right, number 3, which is number 6 down here. What is the probability a customer chosen at random was not gluten-free given that they had the vegetarian appetizer? So this is another conditional probability. Going back, the vegetarian appetizer, oh, I should have put, all right, so I was thinking I should have substituted vegetarian appetizer with a choice because there are 2 vegetarians, but then looking back, I noticed it doesn't have those special carrots on it. On the sides, it doesn't have those special parentheses, meaning I'm not substituting that. It could be either vegetarian appetizer. All right, so in my numerator, I need the people who were not gluten-free and had a vegetarian appetizer. So that would be 29 plus 5 plus 30 plus 5, which is 69 people who were not gluten-free and had a vegetarian appetizer. Now in the denominator, I need to have all of the people who are the given, which was had a vegetarian appetizer. So there I can use the totals. So I had 35 people who had this vegetarian appetizer, 35 people had this vegetarian appetizer, and that's 70 altogether. And that's because there was only one gluten-free person who had a vegetarian appetizer, and that's the difference between these numbers here. All right. So now we're going to go on to the specials. What is the probability a customer chosen at random had only one of the specials? Okay, so we had the special salad, we had the special salmon. These people in the middle, they had both. So my question over here, the probability a customer had exactly one of the specials. There were 28 plus 12, which is 40 out of 100 people had one of the specials. And the last question, probability a customer chosen at random had the appetizer special given that they did not have the entree special. All right, and you could have replaced the appetizer special with salad in this case, and the entree special with salmon, but I didn't do it this time. And so they did not have the entree special. So we're looking first for the numerator for the people who did both. They had the appetizer special and they did not have the entree special. So that would be, let's see, appetizer here, 28. So there are 28 people who had the appetizer special and did not have the entree special. Now, that's going to be divided by the given people. So given that they did not have the entree special, so there are 19 people that did have the entree special, and that means that there are 81 who did not have the entree special. The 81 people are the 28 and the 53. So you should be ready to finish up your project. Make sure you check the project description in Schoology so that you can make sure you fulfill all of the requirements. Make your project look nice, have relevant pictures on it, have a conclusion, and then make sure that you write in depth about the validity, relevance, and impact of this information. And good luck.